Good evening. We are here for the meeting of the Select Board of Town of Newfane. It is Monday, June 4th, 6 p.m. and we welcome everybody who's here in the presence of the meeting and also everybody at home. This is Chris Williams, Road Commissioner, Shelly Huber, Gary Delius. We have Shannon, Administrative Assistant to the Select Board. Right now, we have Jay Wilson in the audience and Bob McCandless from the Planning Commission. So welcome, everybody.
And who's chairing the meeting tonight?
Oh, me. Marion Dowling, sorry. Okay. First of all, are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? No.
Move to accept as presented? Second.
Okay. So we're moving along to the minutes. And if everybody's read the minutes for May 21st.
Yes.
Is anybody ready to approve? Make a motion to approve,
We
please.
already did that. I did that. They're all done.
Okay.
Except for the
I'm
vote.
sorry, I didn't. Second. Okay. Motion's been made and seconded for the minutes of the May 21st meeting. Is there any discussion? Anybody want to add anything, corrections? Okay. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. It's been approved, and thank you very much. We move on to the road business, and the first item is road foreman and road commissioner's report. So Jay, would you give us a report?
Sure. I attended the risk management class last week that was put on by VLCT. It was interesting, a little scary, but interesting.
And you're still gonna keep the job?
Oh, yeah. You know, I guess the biggest thing was if we hire somebody to do work for the town and we see them doing something wrong, we have to stop work. We can't let them continue because we become liable.
Yeah.
So, we met Friday with the representatives from Patriot about the Western Star. They made 9 changes to the truck to meet our specifications, and they were agreeable to do that. The top of Stratton Hill was finished last week, so that's been passed along to FEMA. And we're trying to come up with a solution to the trucks ending up at the covered bridge. They just aren't seeing the signs. There's one in Dover and there's one in South Newfane Village. So I've asked for a price on an LED lights, the solar powered ones that might make the sign more visible to them. In the meantime, we may try just a little battery operated flashing light or something that might draw their attention. But it's 3 to 5 a week, something like that, ending up at the covered bridge.
You're talking about trucks that can't go across the covered bridge,
Yep.
right?
And we've poured 22 culvert headers, and they ended up costing us about $70 each, so a lot cheaper than trying to buy them. Well, that's it.
That's it. Thank you, Jay.
Sure.
Madam Chair.
Chris, do you have anything to add,
Nope.
please?
It covers it. Madam Chair,
Yes.
is it possible or feasible for us to put somewhere on the approaches before people get to the bridge, either one of those sonar or radar-based devices that tells the truck that he's too high for the bridge, so he's got time before he gets right to the bridge and blocks traffic or hits the bridge?
I don't know what the cost would be compared to try to light some signs. I don't know.
Why don't we try the signs first and we continue to have the problem? Take a look at what those might
Yeah.
cost.
This time of year, it's easier for them to turn around than it is in the winter. They have a really hard time. But I don't know. We're gonna. One of the guys said the sign in Dover was covered over with brush a little bit, so we're gonna clear that off. But I don't know what else we can do. They're not very noticeable signs. They're not reflective. They're not. So maybe changing the sign to a reflective sign like we use for some of the other signs maybe would help too.
Are they out on Route 30 or are they on? what,
No,
Newfane?
it's mostly the traffic coming from Dover that has the
Oh,
problem.
coming down. Oh,
Any other questions? We have Mike Fitzpatrick who just joined us on Select Board. Any comments?
The other one.
The other one. Bob?
Yeah, just curious, where are the signs to tell a truck driver, how far up on Dover Road are the signs to tell a truck driver that there's a bridge?
In Westover, at the bottom of the hill before they come up into.
So they have a place to turn around there?
Yeah, and then again in South Newfane before they, by the South Newfane store.
Got it.
I have a thought too. Is there anything like on Google that you can place anything?
All their GPSs tell them it's great to go that way, and
It's been
And never
reported
mind
to
the
Google,
bridge.
But they didn't change it. We did,
It's been updated, but they haven't updated
yeah,
it.
we've given them notification that that's not correct, but they haven't changed it.
Okay, can we have a motion to accept the road foreman's?
Motion
report,
to
please?
approve or accept?
Second?
Second it?
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Any opposed, say nay. Okay. The ayes have it, and we move along to the Baker Brook Road closure request.
we met, Friday? No, I don't know, we met the other day, with, the tree company and Christopher and I, and, we determined that it could be closed to cars for the 12 hours that he needs, but not to trucks. So he's gonna try to, arrange the crane so that it can be off the road enough to get trucks through, cause to try to close it completely for 12 hours we just didn't see any way that would work. It's a lot when you've got, that's your only truck route around, you know.
That would also include ambulances?
They can go through the covered bridge,
Okay.
so. But he's gonna try to work out a plan and get back to us and let us know how he makes out. Either change the time of year so he can get further off the road or somehow.
Chris, do you have anything to add? No. Okay. Excavator bids, please.
Two of the guys went down and looked at one on Friday that Mike had found. They felt it was a little too big and kind of worn, I guess would be the best way to put it. So we're still kind of in the middle of it here.
Okay. So you're in the process of looking. Okay. And the last item on your agenda is Silver Mine access permit.
Yeah, we talked about it today. I went up and looked. It's from the South Wardsboro Road end where they're gonna go in. And we didn't see any issues with it. It seems fine.
Okay.
Can I ask where, about what's going on with the Silver Mine access permit?
Yeah,
He's,
sorry. It's an access permit application to improve a portion of the trail. It's a legal trail, so the town isn't responsible for upkeep or maintenance. But if a landowner wants to upgrade it, they can do that if they have this permit.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's not a curb cut.
no, it's just work in the right of way because he would like to upgrade and fix up the trail.
Shannon, I'm going to ask you when you respond, can you look a little bit more to the camera so people are...
I can.
Please.
I'd rather look at you guys because.
No, I know, but you want people to hear too. But thank you for explaining
Yeah.
that. Is that something we're signing tonight?
No, you would just make a motion to approve.
Okay. So maybe we have a motion to approve this.
Make a motion. Motion, if Chris doesn't want to do it, I'll do it.
Do you want to approve
You want to
it?
do it?
I
Since
just
it's road
said it.
work.
I just said that.
Oh, you
Okay.
did?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's
Good.
kind of gravelly. I couldn't exactly
Speaking
speak.
up, you talk.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of approving, please say aye. Any nay? Okay, the ayes have it.
Fire access too, it's improved.
Oh,
For fire access too, it's a good idea to improve it. Where is it, out beyond the silver line?
You know where Bob Cable's house is? It's out past him a quarter mile. He bought a piece of land out there. And
Yeah, the old mine and stuff.
Yeah. Stephen.
Okay. All approved? Okay. Thank you very much, Jay, for all the work and the special projects you worked on this week with the bids and the closure requests, and also thank you to Chris. We move along to administrative assistance report. Shannon,
Ditch material pricing?
Oh,
Did we skip that?
yeah.
which one?
Ditch
Ditch
material.
material.
Oh, you know what? I don't have it printed on mine, I'm sorry.
Okay. Are we all using the same
Same
agenda?
one?
No, I got mine a little earlier,
You
a
have
few
the
days
draft.
ago, so it's not on here.
Okay.
Okay. You want to read what it says, because I don't have
It
it here.
says ditch material pricing.
Okay, thank you. Jay?
Shannon has the specs on it. How did you decide you want to do it?
I thought you were gonna ask about just getting 3 prices.
So we had drawn up some specs and just because of the length of time we need to get it in during June, we wondered if she could email it and get 3 different prices and do it that way to save a little time.
So, do you have an estimate about how much it's gonna cost? Just in your own mind's eye.
It was, you have the specs with you. I think it was 450 yards we were looking for a price on.
This is in your new policy?
No, what's this for? Is that for,
Because we haven't.
That grant?
we haven't
No,
No,
checked.
no.
you guys know it'd be better to put something like that out to bid for subcontractors?
I don't think we'd go very far. That's the only, like for the,
Well, I mean, the whole thing is, I know you said that one other time about they paid 30-some bucks for an excavator, but you guys gotta figure out your time into it. And I mean, with your guys' time, what it costs the town, I mean, it figures out to 100-some bucks an hour, right?
It's the same.
Same.
And,
Oh.
you got the
Yeah.
excavator cost, top of that, and the backhoe cost, your trucks, and the material. I mean, it used to be when they
Right.
did stuff like that, they'd put it out at so much a lineal foot for foot of stone and everything. You know, one of the other things is, you know, your dump bodies and stuff like that. I mean, by the time you load that stuff and scrape it out of the back of the truck with the excavator, and then sander bodies are flimsy anyways, and
I think what we've
they're
done,
expensive.
what Dromerston had done is they dumped it in little piles along and then placed it. And that worked pretty well from them. They didn't do a lot of digging out of the body.
But I still think, you know, stuff like that's almost pays to put it out to bid. Whoever gets it. I mean, we've done that on all the other stuff. We've been doing flood work and FEMA and everything else. And
Who would be the supplier?
We'd have to get prices. I mean, Mike and Chisosimo and
Clark.
Clark's and I don't know who else would have stone nearby, but
So your thing, you'd like to just do a phone bid?
she was gonna do an email or a phone or however.
If that's.
It's gotta be ledge
Just to
stone,
save.
not round stone.
Yeah, we got, it's actually, somewhere here. It's supposed to be 4 to 8 inch, I think it says 4 to 6 here.
I can
But
change that.
the specs were 4 to 8 inch ditch stone was crushed ledge ditch stone. And that meets the specs of what they're looking for the grant.
Is the reason we're not doing well, first of all, do we have any estimate at all what the price is gonna be?
Well, you get a certain amount of money for a grant. That's about it.
Yeah. But still, how much,
You mean as far as the total for the stone?
yeah,
I think most of them in the pit are what, 18? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So then you have to, the trucking has to be figured on top of that.
so 18,000 plus trucking?
No, $18 per yard.
Oh,
Do we need
So if you had 500 yards, that'd be 9,000 just in the pit. Then you get the trucking on top of that. As I say, I mean, I just think sometimes it's almost better to put stuff like this right out and let it go at it. Go as far as you can go with the money you got.
And what, Shannon and Jay, what is the reason right now where you were thinking not to go out to bid?
The grant has to be, the work has to be completed by June 30th.
Ooh,
And if you were to do a full, you know,
bidding
formal
process.
bid,
Warning,
you're gonna run out of time. So that was the
So it's-
reason for,
Yeah,
I guess it's from lack of planning that we're at this point.
no, it was a late grant.
Oh,
Came
okay.
in at the last minute, so,
There's
No.
no way to get an extension on it.
no.
So we're kind of in
So
an
what if they
emergency
still put it out to
purchase.
bid, and just called around and had 3, 4 contractors look at it? That's what you did with the flood work, right? Like this, sir?
Yeah, yes. that's the answer to the question.
I mean, we
So
did that
it-
for
you
that.
have to have the bids, or you have to have it completed in terms of the price?
The work.
The work,
has to be
by
done
June 30th. So is it possible, time-wise, to get bids in, or you're saying that it's too far?
It's too far.
Unless we have a special meeting, which we've had before.
well, purchasing allows us to act in the best interest of the town. So since we are working on a short deadline, this is not the way we wanted to do it, I think, but if we've got a short deadline, then we are going to get competitive bids, even though it's by phone, not by a sealed bid process. I'm willing to go ahead with that.
Well, just reading into the purchasing policy right now for emergency purchases, the select board may award contracts and make purchases for the purpose of meeting the public emergency without complying with the bid process. Emergency expenditures may include immediate repair or maintenance of town property, vehicles, or equipment if the delay in such repair or maintenance would endanger persons or property or result in substantial impairment of the delivery of important town services.
Well,
So-
you have to define what emergency is, since we
That's
have,
not an emergency.
it's not an
Now,
emergency.
that's thinking of something like Irene.
That's
Right.
not an emergency.
Right, but as far as the grant, meeting the grant
Yeah, but
deadline,
it's not emergency. There's still almost a month.
when did the
to do
grant
it.
come in?
When was it, beginning
We
of May?
discussed it at what, our last meeting in May?
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very short.
Any other thoughts about this?
If we were to get prices from people to do some of the work, would we do it per foot, or how are we gonna? Because it's,
Oh,
I think there's seven or eight culverts in that section that we're trying to do. And then the ditch lining. So do
As I
you?
said, you'd have to kind of figure out what, yeah, you'd have to do it, are you supplying the culverts or?
Yeah, we've got the culverts for it, we've got the headers for them.
So
The way
Shannon.
to do it
I'm
is
sorry.
show it both ways with the culvert and the stone ditch and see if it comes out the way you got the money for it. Because like I said, even with the town doing it, I don't see you having enough money to do the whole project.
Well, we're trying to do,
Yeah, without going into your road gravel budget, and then next thing, how long do you figure it take to do it with the road crew doing it? Because then they're not doing maintenance on the roads, right?
well, I figured somebody could still be grading, and then the other 2 or 3 of us can be doing, because it really only has been taking 2 people to do the ditching. One in the truck, one in the backhoe. When we do culverts, it's nice to have a 3rd person. So we were gonna start this week, it probably would take 2 weeks probably to finish it. So it's just a matter of how to price it so that everybody's bidding on the same thing.
Like you either do it so much a foot for the culvert, so much a foot for stone ditching then. And the town supplying the culverts.
I think if we look to you to tell us how you want to bid it, I mean,
We can try doing it both ways and just see how it comes out. I don't know, yeah, if we get a price per foot, then we can figure out how many feet we can go, with that grant. it's not a section, it's not a set section that we have to do. It's, you start working and go as far as you can. And we were kind of hoping to make it down to the log landing, which is, it's about a half mile, I think, or not even a third of a mile. I can't remember what the exact measurements were, but
Now, would the bid include the material, or would it,
Yes.
it would include the material?
I'll hit the culvert, so I get the culvert.
Except the culverts and the,
okay.
okay.
But even that, though, your culverts have to come out of that 18,000, right?
Yeah.
20,000 or 25,000.
23,000. Yeah.
So you gotta take that out of that, so.
Yeah, we've been doing that. We've got the headers taken out of the culvert and the ditch stone out of it, and so we've been kind of figuring as we go.
So what's the balance on that then?
I don't have it with me.
It's,
Check.
it's a $25,000 grant, but there's a match, so they're gonna supply $18,800 approximately. So,
Usually aren't matches like a, you know, like if it's 25,000, then there's a match of 25 that we
No,
have to?
no, no.
No?
It's a $25,000 grant, so you have to spend $25,000 and they will give you back 18 something.
Oh, that's like a quarter, three-quarter match.
Well, no,
No.
they pay for 18, we pay for the other, in this case, yeah,
8.
the seven or
Seven.
eight.
Oh, it's 25 altogether.
Right.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
we spend that and then they pay us 18.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, it's a buyback or payback or something.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
reimburse us.
Versus a match, yeah.
So if you were going to do this by phone bid, how would you proceed right now?
I don't know that I would you?
Do it by
Would
email
it
or
be you? I probably would do it by email, just so that everybody has the same information written, so that nobody could mishear me or,
And this would be sent out to just a handful of contractors who are
probably 4 or
interested in?
5. Yeah.
And then what would be the deadline for a response? Since you need 2 full weeks to finish it.
Right.
Jay?
Right. Yeah, I would say by Monday.
Okay. Do you need a special meeting to award the bids?
I mean, I would think you would probably make a motion that would authorize him to take the lowest bid.
Okay,
That would be the easiest.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's one way we could do it. Would that be acceptable to you and your thinking? Yes? Okay. So should we vote on this, Shannon?
That sounds good to me too, yeah.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Only if somebody's gonna
Do you have a
make
motion? I don't think you have a motion.
No, we gotta make a motion.
We didn't make a motion. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that, you call around and get bids on, for whatever Jay comes up with for the culverts and lineal foot, or so much a foot for ditching and so much a foot for installing culvert
And do
on
by?
Sunset Lake Road.
Okay. Okay,
And the price is to be in by a week from today.
which would be May 14th, I'm sorry, June 11th. Okay,
Can I just add
Is there-
also, make an amendment?
well, I
that-
need to have a second.
Okay,
We have to second.
I'll second it.
Okay, now discussion.
He didn't include that Jay can make the final decision for the lowest bidder.
Well, you could do it, well, unless you want to do the Monday night. If you want to do a special meeting, you guys can do it.
I think since we're bending the policy a little bit, it's probably better if we sign off on it for the
Yeah.
final purchase. That's not saying anything about Jay, just saying that, you know, we're doing it a little bit outside the normal policy. And to make sure that we've had our review, and we've satisfied ourselves that the quotes were competitive, and that sort of thing. I think we really should be the people who sign off on it.
Okay, so I'll make,
So are you suggesting we have a second meeting on June 11th?
I don't care when we do it. We can call a special meeting, we can do it in a regular meeting, I don't care, just make sure we get the materials.
No, but we need, this is time of the
It
essence
has to
now.
be Monday because
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
Okay, so, is there,
I mean, you could even come in during the day to do it, then like,
that would
you
be
know,
better.
okay,
before Shannon and then go home.
okay. So, do you want to make a suggestion or add that to your motion?
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock on June 11th, Monday, a meeting, quick meeting to approve bids.
Now, these prices don't need to be sealed since we're, okay.
Okay.
No, that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
So is
Oh.
everybody available to
I'll
come?
write up something tomorrow, and then Shannon can send it out, and I just assume they all went to her,
Okay.
and then,
As we're asking now, so far, and looking in advance, Gary, are you available to be here that time,
Yes.
Monday?
Yep.
Shelly?
I believe so.
You believe so, okay. Chris?
I don't know.
You don't know, because you're working.
No, I'm not working, but
Oh, you don't know?
I've got some doctor's appointments.
Oh, okay. And Mike, are you available? Okay. And I'm available. So if we have a quorum of minimum of, minimum of 3.
3, right?
Yep. Okay. Can we vote on this now? All those in favor of having a meeting next Monday at 4 PM to approve the bids, and that's attached to the motion that Mike made. Is that
Okay,
correct?
so this is an amendment.
Amendment.
Okay, so we're doing it as an amendment. Okay, so you're gonna need a motion and a second for the amendment. Then you've got the main motion, which is the amount.
Okay. Would you like to coach me and say one sentence at a time?
Well,
Or would you like to make it?
I think that
Why don't you say?
Mike was willing to remake his motion and include that into it. So
Yeah,
you
he
just-
did.
he would just withdraw his motion and then make his motion including the special meeting.
Okay. That's what I'll do. I'll withdraw it, and I'll do to put this out to bid for so much a foot for stone line ditches,
Yep,
putting the stone, digging, backfilling culverts, town furnishes the culverts, and to have a special meeting on the 11th at 4 o'clock to award the bid.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor
Uh,
of that motion?
Ask if there's any more discussion.
Yes. Any more discussion? Anybody? Chris, you want to say something? Okay. Mike? Okay. Okay, now we will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. And this will all be handled next Monday, 4 PM at a meeting of the select board members with Jay. Okay, thank you very much. We are going now to administrative assistance appointment report. Shannon.
All right, I have a update on the sale to WW Building Supply. There's been a delay at the state level obtaining the letter of exemption for the subdivision. The attorney for the buyer has requested that the closing move forward without the exemption letter, and our attorney has recommended not doing that, but recommended that the board consider letting WW begin their site preparation before the closing, so that we're not holding him up, but we're also not placing ourselves in a risky position. So that's something for you guys to discuss.
I would make a motion that we allow WW to begin site preparations up to grading, but not ground penetration before we receive the exemption. And when I say ground penetration, foundations and those kinds of things. The land preparation could go ahead.
Can I ask Shannon, was there any limitation that Rich Carroll suggested that they have to do, or would they be allowed to go ahead and do further steps than Gary's proposing?
He didn't specify.
He didn't
just said
specify.
allow them to start, site preparation.
Okay,
So
so
we're
I-
not holding them up.
it's
As far
hard
as
to
the
know.
building goes, it's all on their own land anyways, right?
Not sure.
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
no.
so.
That's all on their own property as right now, right?
Yeah, no, pretty much
Some
done
of
it.
it's on. Woodland
Yeah,
Farms.
well,
Maybe that back piece in the
the
back.
back corner might be a little
I
bit.
mean, we want WW to be able to go ahead with their work, but there's a certain amount of risk that we're having to take here. And I think we want to make sure we're measuring that risk to make sure that WW can proceed, but not making any prediction on when the state might come through with this exemption certificate, if ever.
I have a question. Apparently you guys have seen some sort of a blueprint of the plans or something? Because I haven't.
He presented those to a meeting a month or so ago.
Oh, okay.
So, procedure question.
Yes.
You've made a motion, and is it too late to say that, for example, I might make a different kind of a motion or somebody else, or do we have to pass your motion and then have a conversation, a discussion, and then change it?
Okay, you've already received the motion,
Right,
so you are looking for a second.
okay.
If you didn't get a second, the motion died for lack of a second, and then you could proceed into your motion. So that's where you are now.
Okay,
I'll second it.
you'll second it, okay. So now we can have a
Now you
discussion.
can discussion, yeah.
Okay.
What,
Okay, so, I'm sorry, Jay, you want to say, oh, okay. Well, Gary's motion suggests that WW is allowed to start, but then there's a limit to how much you want to have done before it goes any further, while we're waiting for this pass. I would say that, my opinion is that we allow Ed Brook and WW to start the work, because I think we all feel that everything's being done in good faith, and that it seems like this paperwork will come through. And I don't know how long it would take to work on the surface, and then let's say they do what you suggest, the surface, and then we say that they can't do any more. Then what happens? Do we make them come back and talk about it and then
think
give
that-
further permission?
my feeling would be that yes, that we allow them to continue up to a point. If the exemption has not come through, we allow them to come back with on the advice of our attorney, and then ask for whatever he feels like the next step's going to be. The problem that we could run into is that WW ends up in the middle of, let's say, pouring a foundation, and the state comes through and said, we're not going to allow this exemption. And then we'd be stuck with a piece of land, a big concrete block in the middle of it, that we'd then have to pay to get removed, or they would have to pay to get removed.
Shannon?
So I'm saying that we go up to a certain point. If they want to go beyond that point, they can come back to us and ask us. This is just due diligence on our part.
Shannon?
So if we don't get the exemption, all that really means is that we then have to apply for a wastewater permit to do the subdivision. So this is sort of a shortcut that we're doing. So worst case scenario just means that we have to go through the longer process. So nobody has any reason to think that we wouldn't be able to do the sale. It's just how long it's going to take to get it done.
And my concern is that we're back talking about this, that the exemption has been in for a while. We've put off closing once or twice?
Once now, yeah.
And I'm more than willing to let Ed continue forward, but I'd like to see us have an out in case things did not go right, or if we're going to proceed this other route, that we can either allow more or say wait until the wastewater permit is actually done. Because that could create a problem for us if we went ahead and did groundwork that was not approved by a wastewater permit. We could end up being on the hook for that.
Is there
Those nice
anybody-
hooks
okay.
will not be there.
Is there anybody who has any other thoughts or questions about which way to go on this?
Well,
Yes?
the wastewater permit, how difficult is that?
It's not
Is it to have
It's
its,
just more time consuming, it's not difficult.
to have its own septic system?
No, it's only for the subdivision of land, so for whatever reason, the state required you to have a wastewater permit to subdivide your land.
Oh, okay. So it's really just paper?
Yeah, it's.
When Rich Carroll said that he would allow or suggest that we allow WW to start working on the project, did he come up with a limitation or suggest a limitation, or what did he say, actually?
He just said allow site preparation, he didn't specify how far.
Mike, do you have any thoughts on this?
When do they plan on start doing the building?
Yeah.
I really don't know. What they wanted to do was go ahead with the closing before we got the exemption letter, and Rich wasn't really comfortable with that. But he said, as sort of a counter offer, he would recommend allowing them to start their site work.
So, I mean, I don't really think it's a thing for the site work, because it's so much they want to see the land closed. To have it all part of their permit.
So that they can do the site work, yeah.
Right.
That's their,
I don't think it's that they're ready to start digging for a foundation yet anyways.
I'm not sure.
They can't, only get the permit
Permit,
anyway.
that's what I said, they have a permit, so I mean, they're probably looking to try to get the land,
Well, up to the height.
no, I mean, like, to get it deeded to them
Right.
with this exemption thing, maybe over the holding it back or something, but.
Is there anything we can do as far as to make it go faster with the exemption letter?
So we have two different opinions here right
I
now.
don't know what the lawyers is, I talked to Rich Garrett, look in a little bit more to see what he says,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Are you willing to do
Yeah.
that? And because I think
We definitely want to go along.
I totally understand what Gary's point of view is, that we wouldn't want to get into a position where the town is in jeopardy. And at the same time, we don't want to hamper Ed's ability to go forward with this now. So I think that Mike has a good compromise, and that would be to, if you'd be willing to call Rich Carroll and let him know what we talked about, and if he could come up with a suggestion either way. Would that work?
Yeah, it's,
Okay. Would you like to make a motion for that, please?
you already have a motion and a second. And you're in discussion on that motion now.
Of your motion?
Yes.
Okay. So all those in favor of Gary's motion, which was to allow WW to start work on the project, but with limitations in terms of they would be able to do so much work now, and then we would stop and wait to see what's happening with the exemption clause. All those in favor of that motion, can you please say second? We have the second. So all those in favor of Gary's motion, please say aye.
Aye?
All those opposed, say nay.
Well, I'm not really sure, I mean, we still go to the motion, just put the amendment and let the
Yes.
lawyer deal with it.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I thought.
Yeah.
Isn't that what I said
Do we have to?
originally?
Okay. If you're gonna offer an amendment, you say, I would like to amend the motion, or the chair would accept an amendment to the motion.
No, but didn't I say that we would include what you were thinking, and we were also going to say that what Mike, as an amendment, that we would talk to Rich Carroll about.
Jay?
Thank you.
What was that? Oh, I know. Okay.
Well, the motion is there, it's got a second, it's in discussion.
Okay.
You gotta deal with that motion first. If you want to amend that motion, you can say, I'd like to offer an amendment that we add to the motion to speak to Rich Carroll and see what he feels like is the extent of where we can go. We can vote on that, then we can vote on the final motion.
Okay. I thought I said that. Perhaps I didn't.
So we have to say, I'd like to make an,
You need to make an amendment,
Amendment.
and you're looking for a second, and then we'll discuss the amendment, vote on that, and then we go back to the main motion.
so So I make an amendment to the motion that we confer with Rich Carroll, the lawyer, regarding how far we could go with the site preparation and to allow that they can do the site preparation.
We're never gonna do
Yes. No.
What's the extent of the site preparation that he would recommend?
What he would recommend. Okay.
I would second that.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, the ayes have it, and the motion passes.
So
And
now
the
you're back to
amendment passes.
Now you're back to the original motion.
Would you say the motion, please?
That we allow WW to continue or to begin their site preparation up to the point recommended now by Rich Carroll.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And you
So we
second?
added that to
Yes.
it.
Okay. All those in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay. The ayes have it. And we are all set.
Okay, now I'll move on to my next item.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, our animal control officer has resigned,
Yes.
which makes me very sad. I've been covering calls as I can, but for one thing, I don't live in Newfane, so after hours would be impossible for me to do that. I don't mind while I'm here, but I don't think I'm physically capable of dealing with all of the calls. So I guess my point is we need to try and find somebody as soon as possible. I've listed it on the website as a vacancy with a good explanation of what's expected of them. But if anybody knows of anybody interested,
I'd like to add to what you're saying, and
Yeah.
that it is a very important job to have a position, to have an animal control officer. Lots of events go on throughout the years where somebody is needed to go out and to take care of animals, whether they're attacking somebody or somebody's being attacked or chickens are eaten, and whatever's going on, there's a big call for an animal control officer. And what's happened lately is that Shannon has had to deal with a lot of these issues because of the fact that Mike was not available at the time. And as she said, Shannon's a great person with animals and dogs and knows how to deal very well with them, but there's a limit to what she can do, first of all, physically, emotionally, and the fact that she doesn't live in this area. So first, I would like to thank you so much for everything you've gone through the last few weeks. It's been very busy with that. And we have also suggested that we write a letter of thank you very much to Mike. He's been a wonderful person and a very responsible person, and we wish him all the best. And so that's it. So if anybody knows somebody who's great with the animals, who lives, do they have to live in the town of Newfane?
not legally, just logistically it helps
Logistically.
because,
Okay.
you know,
This is clearly not in Shannon's job description.
No, we know that.
Nice that
She's
you're willing
been
to pitch in,
doing,
but
she's been
we don't
doing
want you
a
to
lot
come in with a
of
big
volunteer
bandit
work.
being dog bit.
Exactly. She's been doing a lot of work.
Technically, would this fall back under control of the constable?
Well, I've thought
Constable?
about that.
it's
And-
not, it actually falls back on the select board.
Yeah.
She likes it. You
I just saved a duck.
can write your own tickets.
That's right. My dog has not been well behaved lately, so it might be conflict of interest. She just was excused from her play date group today, and I'm in mourning right now, so this is not a good time for me to discuss my dog. But seriously, one of the things I asked Shannon, because I know we've done it in the past, but obviously it's not something that falls under the sheriff's office.
No.
This would be the town constable.
Yes, probably.
No, it's the select board. The
It goes
constable
directly to
doesn't
the
even,
select-
I'm just suggesting that maybe in the interim, while we're looking at
Oh,
this
maybe
person,
he'd
we
want
could
to
put it.
volunteer.
Yeah, we
Sure.
could put it, see if he would be willing to take on the load until we can find somebody to fill the job full-time.
And is that Archer Mayer still?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, he'd be thrilled. Archer, are you ready? I hope you're watching this, Archer.
Do we need a motion?
I can just call him and see if he's available. I mean, if he's willing, then
Yeah.
that's all right. That would make me really happy.
Okay. Well, thank you again.
And in the interim, I'll
Yeah.
continue to do what I can.
Okay. Even Melissa went with you one day for a
Yes,
dog rescue.
yes.
That was great.
It was.
As I was sitting here and they ran out to get a dog who had appeared on somebody's porch and the owner was afraid to come out because she didn't know the dog, and Melissa and Shannon did a great job with that. That was about 2 weeks ago.
That was a fun one.
Wow.
Okay. Is there anything else in your report?
No, that was it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Motion to accept administrative assistance report.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay. We are now moving on to unscheduled members of the public. No. Now we are on new business, which is Conservation Commission membership. Is that you, Shannon, that you're going to talk
Yeah.
about that, please?
Yep. Just trying to grab the name for it. Greg Record contacted me and let me know that he has 2 people who are willing and excited to join the Conservation Commission. They have attended the last 2 trail sessions and helped out with trail building, and so their names are Jeff and Michelle Mortimer, and they reside in Williamsville. And the Conservation Commission would like very much to have a full board again.
So how does this work, Shannon? Do we need to meet them, or we can just approve it, given Greg's recommendation?
I would recommend a motion to appoint them.
Okay. Is there anybody who would like to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Any second? Good. Okay. Any discussion about that? So,
Can I ask what the Conservation Commission membership is about?
Sure. They are responsible for all the maintenance of the town trails.
Is it just town related or is it Wyndham County related?
No, it's the town
Just the
trails.
town.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And they also, from time to time, will publish brochures on different conservation issues, and they designed a map of our town trails system. So.
Okay.
They also have certain regulatory responsibilities too.
Mhm.
For example, somebody trying to build too close to a wetland, they would be the person, they would be the group
Okay.
that would make the ruling that it is too close.
So it's beyond just trails?
Oh, yeah. It's a very important role
Uh-huh.
next to us.
Uh-huh.
okay. So, can we vote on approving Jeff and Michelle Mortimer, recommended by Greg Record, to become members of the Conservation Commission? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, the ayes have it, and Jeff and Michelle Mortimer are part now of the Conservation Commission. Thank you very much. The next item under new business is the WRC Trail article, and that's something that Shelly would like to talk about and has asked to be put on the agenda.
Yeah, so that kind of just flows into the Conservation Commission. That's like a committee of the town, I guess. So what I wanted to bring to the public, I guess, is that, you know, promoting, and this goes along with the economic development benefit that we can provide through our cultural resources, and one of them would be trail resources, another would be a historical resource in the community. And so the Wyndham Regional Commission has a whole page online about trail development, and it's really about promoting trails and recreational opportunities so they can improve the health and wellness of our residents, the economic vitality of our towns and villages, and the appreciation of our surroundings by those who live, work, and visit our region. And that brings me back to, having the Mayor Family Trust property as something that we should maybe reconsider as a possibility for a resource for the town. In addition, they are standalone, but they are looking to, or had looked to donate the property to the town. And that's a large tract of land that has been developed over 20 years with a lot of special programming. So I'd just like to be able to have a discussion around that. And also, to add another cultural resource to our town to develop, resources for current residents, new residents, tourism, people to come here and to enjoy themselves, and maybe they'd like to come and bring their families and grow, here in the town of Newfane as a way to help our tax base.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't actually vote down
Right.
the mayor. It was voted, but it was a tie vote. And they pulled it before that it came back to us. That was my understanding of what happened.
Yes, he chose to withdraw the offer to the town.
Yes.
And he
Was
chose
it-
to go out and look for other resources.
I don't know if he actually withdrew it from the town. I think he
He
went
did.
to look at other possibilities.
He
to keep it
withdrew
open.
He withdrew it.
He
He
We
actually
have the
withdrew.
letter and it was read aloud.
Uh-huh.
I actually thought what he was trying to do is get another resource to come up with that 20 grand. Maybe not, I don't know.
I didn't see it as being withdrawn, but
Well, I don't know if you still have the letter, but if you go back on the videos, you'll hear it, but you might have it.
I have it, but I don't know how much time you want me to spend digging it up right this second.
It's, Bob?
Are you saying that you would go back to Mike and ask him if he's still,
I think we should at least say that. I didn't get that intent from his conversation. I didn't hear him say withdraw.
He did.
Tom Abbas. I'm not clear about the $20,000 that was attached to this property. Was it a town mandate requiring them
No.
to put up 20,000 or the state?
No, he offered it. He offered
He
it.
offered the 20.
Yeah, but
See,
he
I
offered
don't
it.
understand if someone wants to give 200 acres, was it,
Yeah.
to the town?
Yeah.
Granted, there's a certain amount of tax loss, but that's a hell of a resource.
Oh, it was.
Can I,
We were in
can
due
I,
diligence.
can I clarify? He offered it, and then at the last meeting when he was here, he withdrew that offer because he said that there were family issues and they did not have the money.
Well, if they...
And then Mike had come up with a suggestion of having the $20,000 paid in increments, is that correct?
And that
So-
20,000 was just for maintenance of the trails and the property, or the taxes?
His lectures give us like 10 years worth of taxes.
Yeah.
'Cause there's 1,900 a year they're paying. And they're gonna throw 20,000 into it, so they like to pay for 10 more years of taxes.
Because it's in the current use.
Yeah, we kind of figured it out, then from there, we'd have to figure out how to handle it at that point, which, we said something about cutting timber and stuff, and
That's what I was just gonna suggest. We
There
couldn't
was-
get that for cutting timber.
No, he
Well,
didn't.
Selective cutting.
we also, Shannon and I and Chris had a meeting with the woman who's Vermont Conservation, no, Vermont Forest,
Vermont Land Trust.
Vermont Land Trust, sorry. And she said that they actually like having towns own land. However, she made it very clear that if we owned the land, this was not a way to make money for the town. For example, logging. She said, you know, it's not something that's done all the time. It could be done every 20 years, every 30 years, that in order to have this land, the thought of using it to make money for the town was not a good idea at all, because she said we wouldn't be able to make money, and that's not what they want from us anyway.
Well, not so much to make money off of the logging, but to cover the loss of revenue. Would that be considered making money?
Well, we were in the process of looking at all the complexities primarily related to current use, the forestry plan, where the forestry plan was, and what it takes us to excavate the town from that plan and from that current use position. And we were in the due diligence phase of that when they decided that, I got the impression they were concerned that we weren't moving fast enough. They wanted us to just wholeheartedly stand and accept it, but there were some pretty critical technical issues that we were trying to work through.
I was almost under the impression, I had sort of lost track of it, but I had thought that it basically had fallen to us. You know, we accepted it.
Chris?
There was a 10 acre? There was a building lot in there that he did not tell us about, that the lady told us about at that meeting. And he sort of just didn't say it.
It's sort of by omission.
Yeah, it started out with, I think the number was 224 acres. And as we looked further and further, there were acreages that had to be subtracted from that original number.
So what was
That
the
was
bottom-
one issue.
What was the bottom line of acreage that they would have done?
Never, excuse me. He never really came out and said.
But still, even if it was 200 acres, that's a lot of acreage.
Well, part of the challenge was these set-asides created islands within the land that we would have we would be working with everything around those
They weren't
islands.
chiseling them off from the outside edges.
So it wasn't
No.
figured out.
Yeah.
Oh, so there are islands within.
That gets
Yeah,
into
I
a
believe so.
liability problem.
Chris, they were within the land, right?
Excuse me?
They were islands within the land that was to be conveyed. They weren't on the edge, they were in the middle.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
There was also discussion about a group which they wanted to protect their rights to use the land for some sort
Manitou
of training.
project.
Yeah,
Manitou, yeah, which we didn't want to do.
and we weren't really sure what the details of that were, and they were never, it wasn't that they weren't forthcoming, but we never got to those details about exactly what is
There
that
was a lot
project.
of issues that hadn't been worked out other than just the $20,000.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he, at one of the last meetings, I mean, we said right away that if we were to take on this land, that we needed to make clear to him then that land belonged to the town of Newfane, and then it's the town of Newfane's choice as to what we do with the land. It was Michael's declaration to us saying that he would like the deal to go to closing, and then we can discuss.
This is Michael from the Land Trust.
Not on here.
No, yeah, Michael Mayer. And,
The Joe neighbor.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, and that, and which included, well, why don't we close and then we'll see what the Manitou project does and everything, and the town could not accept that. There was another issue, yes.
Yeah, there's so many years and it's still on land use. And if the town started to do something with it, the town's gonna get stuck paying the land use fine.
Right.
So that's what
How
happened.
expensive would that be if you had a change of use?
The penalty comes to $28,000.
So are you guys going to pursue getting back to him?
Well, that's Shelley's suggestion, but it's not, we would have to discuss
Well, I guess
this.
I never heard back about your meeting with the woman from the state and what
But
the,
we spoke about it at the meeting. I don't know if that's one you were absent recently. I don't remember when it was. But it is
I was just
on.
absent from a special meeting. That
Oh,
was all.
I
okay.
almost
So
think
the-
we were ready to report when he came
Yeah.
in with his
Right.
never mind
Yeah.
Right.
letter.
Yep.
And
Right.
so maybe on the next agenda we
Mhm.
can at
But,
least
I mean,
report.
aside from that, I'm just trying to bring that up as a, just for closure, I guess, and also for emphasis on, developing our natural resources and other cultural resources in the town,
Well,
such as like the Newfane Hill.
I mean, we
com-
did have closure with him. He withdrew the offer and he said he wants to look
He
elsewhere.
did say he would let us know if he decided that that was what he wanted to do.
Okay, so it was kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, that was how we left it with him.
Because I didn't hear the word withdraw.
No, but didn't he, but after that, we got the letter.
No, his letter said if he decided that he wanted the town to have it, he would get back to us.
Can we research that letter and
I mean,
find
I can
it?
grab it, I just don't know how long you want me to.
No,
be
no,
over
well,
there
we could,
Pulling it.
We
I
could
can
do
look it up.
Baylor's.
You could do it. Totally.
Well, so anyways, as a wrap up, I just wanted to be able to, again, just say, to be able to develop our resources here in the town of Newfane would be advantageous for developing a broader interest from younger people and younger families. And, as I note, the average age in this Newfane is 45. So, having younger families come into Newfane is a way for the property base to be expanded. And you have to have things that younger families want to do. And I think our educational system is fairly good, but there's also other things that they look for. So.
Bob?
How would you propose that land, if that did get back on track and he did donate it to the town, how would you propose that land would be used for that same purpose that you just mentioned?
Well, development, they already have trails, I'm assuming, on this property. But even if there was an island within that tract of land, if there was a way to carve it out, so we got, 70% of that land, I would say that, to continue developing the trails that are on that tract of land that they could carve out without complications. And because it's been advertised and marketed for so many years that people are very well aware of it, and you could develop, the commission here, the Conservation Commission could develop that trail as a part of other trails within our town and make it a real big, trail event. I'm trying to think of the right
Asset?
word. Yeah, trail asset, but to link the trails. I mean, we've also got the train track trails going on. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could tie into.
I thought the forest trails could not be connected to that parcel because there was ownership of something that was between.
Right, not necessarily being connected physically, but connected in mindset and in marketing. And, there's a historic area at the Newfane Hill Common, which was recently presented. That's a cultural resource that could be developed, and it could be another place to go hiking or to investigate and develop. So
Well,
that you start building a collection of resources that you market collectively out.
Would that be the Conservation Commission's responsibility?
I would think so. I mean, I wasn't aware of it.
The one with the Newfane Hill project, that is going to be dealt with through the museum and the Historic Wyndham Society.
Because I know when I was on Newfane New, I went to the town forest up where the garage is to walk the trail. And there's the barrier leading into the garage,
Right.
and the entrance to the town trails is beyond that. So I had asked Shannon, because I hadn't seen any minutes posted on the website, if the commission was still in effect.
Yeah.
She said they were, but they weren't posting to the right website or something. But
Yeah,
my take on it was that more than likely, people that would want to go walk those trails would be doing it on the weekends. If that gate is closed, it says to me, you can't go any further.
Right.
So if the town's conservation commission can't get the access to its own forested trails accessible to the general public, how are they going to get access to that parcel of land?
Well, I mean, that's all part of development and getting an interest of the community involved and, you know, being able to write grants. I mean, we write grants for everything. So writing a grant for a cultural asset, which now the town is, you know, working on a town plan that should be part of it. I'm sure it is. And, you know, just connecting everything and looking forward enough to lay the groundwork and having consistency within the community. I mean, it's building a community of people and resources to you know, draw other people here. And that's what happens in communities, is you can't let your resources lie still because nobody knows about it. Nobody has access to it. Nobody, you know, the few that try, there's a stop gate, there's a gate, you know, and it's making it more viable instead of a secluded community, you know, for, you know, it's been noted that it's a retirement community. And retirement communities only can grow with, you know, new life, young people, you know. It's a generational thing. They come, you know, people come here and they say, I love this community, and that's great, but it's also about growing the community. And that means, you know, bringing in young people, having young people have options to work and live around in the area. So it's not, I'm just not talking about trail development or natural, you know, just the forest, you know, lands or whatever. I'm just talking about economic development and starting somewhere with cultural resources.
We have the Planning Commission, and this is from, right, the notes from the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission has been working for years on
Right.
all of this, and I would almost say that this, what Shelly's saying,
It would
first of
be-
all, a lot of it has been done already. You've worked on it, and they're moving along very well. I don't know how many commissions we need or groups. I think that this is
Right, well,
something they're
using
doing.
this as the plan and to apply it and to, you know, get committees behind it.
Yes.
With this trailhead being within the town garage property and being closed off for a couple days out of the week when it's closed, it's town property, it's town trails. Wouldn't it be just a simple thing
Well,
to
we
divert
have-
the trail head over and around the
Why don't we
gate?
ask-
Everybody walks right around the gate and goes there all the
Well, you
time.
don't want them walking
I'm
through the town
responding to
garage,
what
it's
you're saying.
liability.
You should respond to the board first.
That's a truth, but the fact of the matter is, what we're talking about is if you have new people in town and they approach that trail and they see that gate, it says to them, don't go any further.
Yeah.
So the access should be on the roadside of that gate, not beyond
We
it.
didn't put the trail in there. The selectmen did.
I'm not arguing anything about that. All I'm saying is that
Point of
access to that
information.
trail is not accessible.
Yes.
I spoke with the chairman of the Conservation Commission about the issue about the trails, and he told me that the situation has been corrected and that they are now available anytime people want to use them, any day of the week.
By the garage, to go through.
The trailhead is available and open.
Is it on, what side of the gate is that?
they made it evidently open to whoever wants to go there. But I was assured by the chairman that the trails are open and ready for business. So,
Chris, is that, are you aware of that, or is that?
I don't pay any attention to it.
you don't go hiking there every day?
I mean,
I've hiked most of my younger life all over that mountain.
Yeah.
Okay,
I said, maybe what we should do then, if there is this thing, it should have a trail sign on the side of the gate to make it so it shows that they can go around it. But another thing, like what Shelly was just saying, I can see what she's getting at, like on that with the different things to invite people into the towns. Because see, the governor's trying to do something like that now, is on the thing where he's actually gonna give, what, a $10,000, a certain dollar credit belt to get people to move in and out of the cities that can operate, live here, and operate out of the house and do the work in the cities. And you take people like that, they're gonna check out different communities to see what you have to offer and different things like that. You know, that's what will attract them to that area.
Well, the good news is that there was an article in the paper recently, just the other day, that a lot of people are coming from the cities and they're buying up their homes here in Windham County. It's like the most attractive area now in Vermont for whatever reason. But we have a lot of natural resources, and the West River Valley, is what people are looking for. They're working hard, they want to relax, and they want to hike, and they want to have good food.
They got a good choice where they want to buy, because most every place has got a for sale sign in front of it.
I know.
We are also lucky in that we are one of the few communities that does have high-speed fiber optic running right through the town, and citizens can connect to it if they're right, anytime that they wish. We just connected ourselves.
yeah, that's very new.
Yep.
That's great, yes.
I was just gonna say, you just brought up the point I was gonna make. We need the infrastructure, the people that are gonna work from home need
Right.
high-speed internet, so that infrastructure needs to branch out on, I just got internet on South Wardsboro Road, and I'm the last one on the road, the line. That gave me Wi-Fi for my cell phone, gave me telephone, all the other amenities that they need.
Yep.
Because you drive, for 5-6 years, I was driving down to Grafton Cheese Factory to use my cell phone. And, it's not conducive to business.
I know the company that I think you're using, Garen, where they have put up the lines on West Street.
Yes.
Yeah, and I forgot the name of them, but I spoke to them the spring, when they were putting them up, and it's great, but they're just starting. I don't know how far they're going to be able to go, but it is very important.
Yes, they are extending it because people are beginning to ask for the
Right.
service. So if it passes in front of your lot, your house,
Right.
you have the right to sign up.
Right.
And they'll make a drop for you.
Yes. Yes.
We should contact the state and be more willing to allow cell towers to be spread out. After the hurricane, all the telephones down, they put temporary towers up all over, and we're giving out cell phones so that Fairpoint wouldn't lose their customers. But as soon as they had their hard lines back in, they took those down. So it's not a matter of not being able to do it.
Yeah.
Fairpoint has been the major roadblock to cell phone spreading, because it's pretty much known that once people have cell phone, they get rid of their landlines sometimes, because they have a phone with them all the time. Instead of landline, you have to go home to use it.
Actually, the big challenge, Tom, is the cell tower depends on what's called backhaul, which is high-speed fiber optic line. And all the people who come in, they establish a relationship with Fairpoint instead of going out to bid it to whoever's got the service running past them. And Fairpoint is in no hurry to extend those. That was the main reason why our tower here did not get turned on for some 2 years.
Really?
Fairpoint hadn't run the wire to them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for allowing me to bring it up.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and I think that when we hear about the Newfane town plan that the planning commission has put together, you'll see.
Yeah, I
We'll
know,
all
I've been
see.
involved in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you on the planning commission now?
No, but I went to community forum where we were
Oh, right.
developing it.
Yes.
And I don't think I can do one more committee.
Because you probably would be a great asset to the planning committee because
I'll
the
drop
planning
in
commission.
occasionally.
Yeah, because you have great ideas. Seriously.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Animal control position?
Would
is
you
it-
like it?
Is it a paying position? Or is it a volunteer
Depends.
position?
There's $800 for the year.
Oh, geez, that'll go a long way. The other question was, is there a facility where if the animal control officer goes out and has to pick up an animal,
Yes.
does he have to keep it at his
No.
place,
No.
or is there a
It goes to
kennel?
The
the Humane
Wyndham-
Society.
Oh, down to the
Yes.
society.
Even
Yeah.
if it's closed, there's a way to drop the animal off.
We would love it if you would be interested.
I think that anything other than domestic animals is that person's responsibility. Anything outside of that would be the game wardens.
Right.
You know, bears, moose, you know,
Exactly.
You don't want to do
raccoons,
that.
yeah,
No bears.
whatever. I mean, I don't know where the line is drawn.
Pretty limited with dogs.
Yeah, dogs
I
and
mean,
cats,
an
yeah.
occasional cow maybe, but
Yeah, domestic.
yeah.
There is a description of the position, right?
Yes, it's on the website.
Well,
So
let
I
us know.
wonder if, Tommy, if you're interested, would Mike be willing to talk to him about what the position involved?
Sure. Yep. And Mike also said he would be happy to speak with anybody interested and even help them kind of
Yeah,
Who
get
was the
started.
previous?
Mike Young, he's from Williamsville.
a very committed and devoted person to the community and to the job. And unfortunately, he has to move on with other things right now. But I'm sure you would appreciate speaking to him. He's great, if you so choose. Okay. Well, thank you, Shelley, again for your presentation. And now we're moving on to old business. And that is the first item is Baker Brook Road right-of-way.
Oh, I think we skipped
you
the
have-
town plan.
Town plan.
Town plan, do you have that?
You-
Not
you've
on?
done-
No,
draft.
I don't have that.
Okay.
You have the draft.
I have the draft. Why didn't I get the new one?
You- well, I gave it to you.
Where are we?
Right here.
Town plan draft, excuse me. Planning commission.
This one.
Yes, I have the plan. Bob, are you the one who's going to
No,
do
actually,
this?
Angela Sanborn was supposed to be here. She got direction from Lynn, and I was supposed to answer questions to specific areas, but let's shoot off the hip here.
I need to,
I can help you.
I need to
Help.
report a
I have to
potential
sign mine.
conflict of interest
When
because Bob is my
Lynn set
husband.
this
So
up, it says set
But why
hearing
is that a
date.
conflict of interest if
They
he's
have to-
reporting?
They have to hold a hearing.
items in the town plan could result in a fiduciary interest.
I can start if you want.
Yeah.
Well-
Okay.
Okay,
If we
So-
get to something that is related to hospitality
you want to leave?
business, then I will recuse myself,
Okay.
if that's
Yeah.
acceptable to the
Okay.
board.
I'll start the discussion if that's helpful.
Okay, good. And Bob, would you move up closer, please? Thanks. Go ahead, Shannon.
So the planning commission has finished their hearing process and have chosen to, I don't know, it's approved.
Yes, we have,
It's approved.
planning commissioners approved it.
And so what the next step in the process is to then turn it over to the select board.
Yes,
And so at this board meeting, you are accepting it, as you have copies right there. And so your next task is to set another hearing, because the select board will be actually adopting the town plan. So,
Let me just stop you 1 minute.
yep,
It's an update to the town
Right.
plan. It's not a
Yes.
complete rewrite of the
Okay,
town plan.
Right.
right, it's just an update. So the select board has to set a hearing date, which is no less than 30 days and no more than 120 days. It can be the same night as the select board meeting. So what's been done in the past is they might have the hearing at 5, regular meeting at 6, at which point they can adopt it as long as there were no changes at the hearing. So I did
Can
put
you
together some
suggest,
dates for you.
Yeah, please.
The soonest one is July 16th.
The soonest one.
Yep. August 6th would be the next one, followed by August 20th. And then the next possible one would have been September 3rd, but that's Labor Day. So I skipped to September 17th, and then the last possible one is October 1st.
October 1st.
Is this supposed to be approved by a certain date though? I know she has one of the things she said one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I would go with one of the sooner ones. I wouldn't push to the, I don't see any reason to push to the 120 days.
So I would say July 16th.
That-
So July 16th meeting.
So you would make a motion to accept the plan and set a hearing date of July 16th.
Okay. So I will make a motion that at our meeting, select board meeting on July 16th, we will make a motion.
No, you're
No.
gonna make a motion to
I'm
set a
sorry,
hearing
to set the hearing
for
for
and I
July
would do
16th.
5 o'clock, so that you
5
can have
o'clock.
a hearing and then your regular meeting.
Okay. So the motion is to,
Just
I'm
accept the
sorry.
plan first, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can include in your motion to accept the plan from the planning commission.
right, to accept the plan from the planning commission and that
And
we,
to set the hearing.
okay, we accept the hearing on July 16th at 5 PM and then go into our regular select board.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Okay, is that
I'll
second?
second
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh, discussion?
Madam Chairman, please, after you receive a second, please discuss the motion before you go to the vote. You just had to at least say the words. All right, is there any discussion?
Yes, is there any discussion on the motion? Anybody have something to say?
I will say this, they have put in a tremendous amount of work on this. And when I say tremendous, I talk about above and beyond the call of what we expect a board or commission to do. This clearly qualifies. They spend from daylight till dusk on the weekends working on this plan. And they've been doing it for several weeks and meeting every week to continue the process. They've done a yeoman's job here. I think we owe them a great deal of gratitude
Yeah.
for doing this work for us.
Absolutely.
And I like to say that even with this town plan, it's a plan and it's written, but it doesn't become action until you put it into action. So you can have a plan written, but it's really about following up and making sure that parts are worked on and expanded upon, and, you know, that the momentum continues on, that we reference this at all times, if we're, you know, finally accepting it, that as a board, that we reference this as we make our decisions in the future.
Correct, and as we talked about a few meetings ago, we should have goals and objectives.
Yes.
This is where those goals and objectives come from.
Right.
We look at this list and tells us what it's supposed to do in this year, and then we move forward to the next year where it tells us the next step. Otherwise, it's just a piece of paper sitting on a shelf.
Exactly.
We don't want that.
Be wasted.
Yes, Bob?
That was one of the initiatives when we were working on it, was to make people accountable. Because in the old town plan, it said select board, planning commission, conservation commission, whatnot, but nobody followed up on it. So our take on it is we put blood, sweat, and tears in what we did thus far, and we would like people to be accountable. You know, we say you, the select board, needs to look at this, and this is your responsibility, take that to heart. Same with planning commission and any other group or whatnot that we say is a designated owner of that section.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
With any set of building plans, you have them reviewed by the bodies, the governing bodies. They approve it, they stamp every page so that it's chiseled in stone, so that can't be amended without anybody really seeing it. Is that something that happens with this?
No,
Normally.
It's left open-ended so that it
Well,
can be
it's a
amended or
guide.
whatever as you go?
it's a guide, and we can only say that,
Right.
you, the committee or whatnot, this is your responsibility to see that this is done and this is abided by. We take this, and then the DRB, we do bylaws from that, and then we do zoning laws from that.
Everything's based on.
So there's a lot of meat that's going into this that will, as Gary Delia said,
But to protect the work that you did, it's not, so
No.
that nobody can,
no, you can't police it. You really can't.
Bob, once this is officially accepted and voted on, how do the residents of Newfane get to see this? Does everybody get a copy? Are they going to
We'll
be
make it
designated?
available to everybody. We're not going to send it out to every household.
Okay, so where would they, so you will let us know where
We'll let you
the-
know. Again, this is only an update.
Yes,
And
I
then, once we
understand.
get this approved, then the planning commission goes full boat with doing the complete rewrite. There are sections of this that we are through with, that we were responsible by the state and by WRC to make sure that we got these specific areas done.
Yeah,
But
updated.
above and beyond that, and once we get this approved, then the planning commission meets again, and we go through everything, and we update the whole shebang.
So this would be on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing that I'm asking, so that it will be announced, that will be on the website. There'll be hard copies. Is it possible that they can be borrowed, signed out? Thank you. It is an amazing amount of work, and I know that all of you have been working so hard. And I know that you not only have meetings here, but you also meet at people's homes, and once in a while.
we met at Lynn's house, but these are bona fide meetings, because as a meeting, you have
No,
to
I
post.
know.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we're hunkered away in somebody's house.
No,
these
I
are
understand that.
These are open to the general
Yes,
public,
of
and we
course.
invite anybody from the general public to
Right.
come. Because any input that we can get from people when we're working on certain sections
Yes,
is only to our advantage. Because
Yeah.
we want to write this based on what they want to see happen in this town.
exactly, yeah. No, it's an amazing project that you've all taken on, and it's been a few years of really hard, committed work, and people working very well together. And
This document, by the way, I think this is the first year where this will hold true for 8 years. Prior to that was 5 years.
I-
So this will hold, so that's another thing to think about. This thing will be in effect for 8 more years, and then you have to do a rewrite.
Okay, that's very important to know.
So for final proofreading and things, that will happen during this stage of the process or during your final? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
It's amazing. It's great.
Our action tonight.
Excuse
Did we
me?
complete the motion?
Did you vote on it? I didn't,
I don't think so.
I don't think,
No.
I didn't hear a
So
vote.
I make a motion
It's already,
to,
you have a motion.
It's made and seconded, we just need the,
oh, the vote. Okay.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The update. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, the ayes have it, and it's been approved. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shannon. Thanks. Okay. We are up to old business. Okay, yeah, see? Okay, so we did that. So now we're up to old business, Baker Brook Road right-of-way issues.
executive session.
We have to go into executive session. And you have the reason why? Thank you. Okay. I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session, and this is for the reason of pending or probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party. And I make a motion for select board to go into executive session and inviting Shannon to join us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We didn't second it, excuse me. Can we second it, please?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, it is exactly 7:30 and we are going to executive session now. We are coming out of executive session and it is 12 minutes until 8 p.m. And at this point, no decision has been made and we are continuing to look at everything and we will report when a decision has been made. So thank you very much. Right now we are moving along to the next item under old business, and that is the purchasing policy. And we're going to review it and discuss it.
The suggested changes are in red. Since our last meeting, we added in this section for goods and services having value of 2,000, 10,000 and greater. And these merely formalize those processes and also then allow staff to have more leeway in areas below $2,000.
Okay, it was my understanding that we were gonna get this before our meeting so that we could look at it.
Yep, we're in no hurry.
Okay, so
So
we
you
can,
can-
we can take this
Oh,
on and
absolutely.
look at it.
It's a little bit too much for us to
Yeah.
go through and try to vote on.
Right, okay. So what I would like to do, and I assume everybody else is at their time at home, we can look at this and we've done a lot of work on this, and thank you very much to Gary and Shelly for going through the purchasing policy. We will review it, and we can put on the agenda probably to vote on approving it next time at
Yep.
select board.
There's-
Okay.
There's one other item that needs to be added to this, just to protect ourselves from expensive purchases. Unless otherwise designated, all equipment must be new and fully warranted. So this is pretty much standard on all federal bids. You can't sell them anything that's been used before. We can waive it if we have the opportunity, but this will allow us to make sure that the equipment is always new and fully warranted.
Yeah, that's just standard
Yeah.
boilerplate.
Yep.
So you want us to
That will-
pencil that in?
Just pencil it in.
On what
We'll-
page? The first page?
Purchase authorization,
What page are you on?
that'd be the first page,
And
second
what,
paragraph.
second paragraph?
Yeah.
So why don't you repeat what you want to say?
Unless otherwise designated, all equipment must be new and fully warranted.
So in other words, one can propose buying something old, used.
Yeah.
If something comes up and we go through the process, we find that we can do something that is a piece of equipment that's in good shape. Just like Mike found a piece of equipment that the guys went down and looked at last week. If we find a piece of equipment like that, that could be considered close to new, but still was fully warranted, we could waive that requirement and go ahead with it. But as a rule, the equipment that we buy, we want it to be new and fully warranted. For example, on the truck, we weren't looking for a used truck, we were looking for a new truck. phone systems or computer, anything like
No,
that.
I understand. I'm just saying, but because of the first part of the sentence saying, unless otherwise
Designated,
designated.
Yeah.
So somebody can suggest
right.
slightly used or
Well,
somehow.
it has to go out to bid as that statement.
Right.
Yeah,
No, I understand.
yeah.
Okay, so it's on the agenda that we will vote on this at the next meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Mark
thank
it
you.
up and anything you want to put on it or add to it or take away, that's what it's here for.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody who wants to say anything further about this tonight? Okay. We're moving to correspondence and thank you, Shannon. Okay. So the first piece of correspondence is called Building a Safer Place, a Sense of Place. And it is a forum for municipal officials and community development groups. It is going to be held on June 14th at Killington Grand Resort. And there is information about it, so anybody who is interested in reading this and signing up, you can get all the information in this brochure, and we will leave it up here by the, yes? Are you interested?
So I'm already registered to go.
Oh, great, good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there a fee?
Yes. Right on.
With guests coming in.
Mm. Is it a Thursday? I think it is. Does it say Thursday?
June 14th is a Thursday?
Yeah.
And why am I not seeing a fee here? I would think there is a fee.
Shannon registered me, so.
Yeah, and then they send a bill, so.
Yeah.
Oh, so you'll just pick it up.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so anybody who's interested, Shannon, would that fee be covered by anybody who's a municipal worker who would want to go?
Yep.
Any limit on number of people who could go? Okay, great. Well, the information will be here. The next one is a correspondence from Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation, SEBS, Advancing Southern Vermont. And it is to the Wyndham Regional Town Clerks, Administrators, Managers, and Select Board Chairs, from Adam Grinold, Executive Director, Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation. And it says, it's about this enclosed brochure, also flyer, a summer bulletin for the town from June 1st to August 30th. Various programs that they have starting June 19th in one spot, in 3 spots, different startup and small business workshops, June 5th, June 13th, June 20th, June 27th, and some more workshops with dates. So again, we will put this up here for anybody who wants to look at it and perhaps sign up for it. Next one is a delinquent tax collectors workshop, and it's sent to Select Board. And this is on Wednesday, July 11th. And it is taking place in Montpelier at the Capitol Plaza Hotel. And again, we'll leave this here if anybody is interested in going up. Right there. And the last one, no, my goodness, we have a lot of correspondence. second to last one, VLCT News, the magazine that comes out, and information about workshops. They have a Mac workshop, as a matter of fact. So going online, there's employment law, economic development symposium, delinquent tax collectors. So some of this is repetitive from the small flyers. And again, we'll leave it in a place right up on the file cabinet. And this is the EAP brochures, not brochures, flyers that we give out to the employees. And this is not only good for employees, but
Can I have one?
for human beings. This is for every single human being. Think your way out of stress. So, would you like to give them to your
It's a mind
garage?
over matter kind of thing.
You want some for your
Just have to
employees
say
and
it.
yourself? I certainly can use one. Gary, do you want to put it on your guest table?
Well, this is primarily
Seriously.
for employees.
I know, but it's really for people in general too. Even if you're not employed, you are allowed to have stress in life. And you're allowed to have,
It's for our employees, right?
it's for what?
Yeah, services.
Yeah, or select board members are
Yeah,
Okay.
eligible, but you're certainly welcome to read the newsletter.
but certainly anybody can, this is about responding to stress and what's happening. It's lowering your stress to improve your health. It's reframing what's going on with you, negative frame, and then reframing. Yes, it's writing for employees, but honestly, I think it's good for anybody to look at. And so we'll leave some up on the counter if anybody would like to come in and take one or sit down here and read it. Those are the correspondence paperwork for tonight. Any comment about any of this? Interest in workshops will be up there. So I think that's it for tonight. It's 8 o'clock on the dot, and we are ready to do pay orders. So we thank everybody for being here, whether you've been here in person or watching us on television or online. Please have a good evening and be well. And thank